Hi, I'm Jenny Faye, and I'm the children's pastor here at Canyon Ridge. Thank you so much for taking this step and serving with the elementary ministry. We are so excited to have you as part of the team. For this video training, we're going to be going through our elementary handbook. Know that we're not going to go through all the pages. We would love for you to read through it all on your own. And in this video, we're just going to give you some highlights of the super important stuff. So if you'll open it up to the page that says our mission statement. For us in the elementary ministry, our goal is to partner with God and parents to build a biblical foundation for life in a fun and memorable way. Everything that we do comes back to this. We want to help kids be in love with God and in love with His Word, and we want it to be transforming their lives.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Howell, and I'm on the elementary ministry staff, and I'm here to help you along your serving journey. And that begins with the invitation to connect you with our staff and our serving teams and our kids to find your sweet spot. And that begins with an introduction to base camp. And that is going to start when you come up to base camp, and we will introduce you to the serving team that you're going to serve with. You'll get your name tag, base camp t-shirt, and your lovely little handbook that you should be looking at right now. Along with getting all those things, you will also get a chance to observe the area that you've chosen to serve with, and you're going to get tagged up with a leader who has been serving with us for some time, and you're going to do what is called our S2, and that is serving twice with that person. They're going to show you the ropes and just lead you along a time that you will be serving. They're going to show you everything that you have to do in that time, and enable you to feel comfortable and confident when you're working with the kids and alongside other volunteers. And it is just a great time for you to become confident and secure in your time to serve these kids in the Lord. And after that, we're going to do some more training with you. You get a chance to watch this video. And if you are over 18, that's when we're going to ask you to go online to our Canyon Ridge website. You'll go to www.canyonridge.org, where you will go to the bottom under Tools, and you'll find our Youth Safety class and our background check. Those are very important because we want to ensure, above all things, the safety of our children. Then, the very last thing that we really want to stress is our discipleship. We really, really think it's important that serving God doesn't just enforce the importance of God on our kids, but it also brings a love and a joy to our own hearts. And we want and we believe that these things are also important for us to share with our friends and our family and the people in our lives. And so we just ask that you, in turn, think about those around you and who you would think that would be important to add to their lives too. So invite a friend who you think might enjoy serving up here with us. Thanks.
In the elementary ministry, we have 4 values that are hugely important to us. Our first value is safety. We want this to be a safe place for kids in every way. If a kid doesn't feel safe, they don't want to come. And if a kid's parents don't feel like we're safe, they don't want to bring their kids. So we want our kids to feel emotionally safe, meaning when they answer a question, there's not another kid looking at them and saying, "Oh, that's dumb." As leaders, we want to help this be an emotionally safe place. So it's okay to look at the kid who said, "Oh, that's dumb," and just to kindly say, "Hey, we don't say stuff like that." Because again, we want kids to feel emotionally safe. We also want them to feel physically safe. So this means that as a leader, you're keeping an eye on the entrances and the exits. You're making sure that the people who are in with our kids are the people who are supposed to be in with our kids. And if ever someone comes in and you're not sure, check with another adult, check with a staff member about that person, because safety is important to us. Our second value is fun. We want kids to have fun at church. If you remember, part of our mission is that we would help kids learn God's Word in a way that's fun and memorable. If kids aren't engaged in what we're doing, then they're not going to remember what they've learned. And if they don't remember what they've learned, then chances are they're not going to let it transform them. And we are all about God transforming kids. So we want kids to have fun and understand that the Bible is one of the most exciting books on the planet. Our third value is disciple. We want the elementary ministry to be a place where kids are discipled, where they grow in their faith. Now, you might have heard that that's like number 3 on the list and be thinking that should be number 1. But we truly feel like we must be safe and we must be fun before we even have a shot at discipling our kids. Our goal is, as I heard Andy Stanley once say, our goal is through 1st through 5th grade to plant the anchor of God's word so deep that when they're in middle school, they don't drift far. We know that this world is a crazy place, and we want to do our best to partner with God and with parents to build that foundation for our kids in the Bible and in God so that they're ready to face whatever happens. Our 4th value is care. Obviously, we want you to be caring for kids, helping them grow in God, but we want you to know that as part of the elementary ministry team, we care about you. So you have a leader who's thinking about you and praying for you. We encourage you to connect with your leader, whether it's your room leader, your check-in leader, whoever. Connect with that person. Let them know what's going on and connect with the other people who serve with you because we do care about each other. It's one of our values.
All right, so next to another fun topic, the restrooms. Most of our rooms have restrooms in them, so for the most part, all you have to do if a kid says I have to use the restroom, you just point to it and the kids can go on their own. However, if for some reason all of our restrooms up here at base camp happen to be out of order and we had to take them outside, then male leaders may not take the child to the bathroom or out of the room by themselves. A female leader must accompany all students to the bathroom outside of base camp or out of the room. The leader must take no less than 2 and no more than 4 children to the bathroom at a time. These are very steadfast rules. And when using the restrooms outside of base camp, please make sure that the bathroom is cleared before allowing any child to enter it. For the safety purpose, we do not permit people to wander around the children in the building unattended. We want to make sure that anybody coming in and out of this area, we know who they are. It's part of the reason why we all wear the orange base camp shirts. We'll get to that in a second. So just make sure that when you see people up here, if they don't look familiar to you, they look like they're lost, either ask them or get a staff member or another leader to see if they need help or something else. The S2 rule. Each new leader will serve 2 times with the leader who has already been serving 2 months or more. We want to make sure that everybody has got plenty of time to be comfortable where they're serving, and we want to make sure that they are getting their training from somebody who has been with us, knows these rules, knows the procedures, knows everything that's going on. We want them to be trained by experience. Also, now here's some fun rules too. We all love these kids up here. We love them a lot. That's why we're serving. But never allow a child to sit on your lap. We want to teach the kids appropriate boundaries, and by doing that, we have to set them. Also, we can only give side hugs. I know it's hard, the kids get excited, they come up and they want to give you a hug, but we want to make sure that it's just a side hug. So turn to the side, try to persuade them that this is just as good as a front hug, and make sure that we are just being appropriate with them. They will get used to it, and it's all good. Also, no roughhousing, no tickling, no wrestling. We want to make sure that we're all following one of our major rules, hands to ourselves. This leads us to one of our final rules, wearing our base camp t-shirts. This, like I said earlier, is for safety. Make sure that we all know that we all belong here, that we all have a purpose. It also helps us fit into our safety codes. We know that we all are wearing an appropriate shirt that teaches the kids that we all want to be here. It's just a great shirt that just helps us all fit in and shows the kids that we want to be here, that we serve a purpose, and that we're here to love them. Thanks.
Since we're talking about safety stuff, I want to take a moment to talk about medical issues. The great thing about our elementary kids is that they're usually not having major emergencies. Usually it's a hangnail or a paper cut. And all we can do for medical attention is give a Band-Aid or hand a tissue. We're not doctors and nurses. If it goes beyond that, we can page their parents, and their parents can come over from Big Church and help deal with it. But if we do give out a Band-Aid or something like that, we need to fill out an incident report just like this. We ask that our adults are the ones to deal with our medical issues and to be filling out these incident reports. You can find Band-Aids and incident reports in the first aid kits. If you're in a small room, there's a drawer in the check-in area labeled first aid kit. If you're in the large room, Camp 2, there's a first aid kit on the shelf. So once you gave a Band-Aid or gave a tissue for a bloody nose, you'd take this form, you'd fill it out. It's very easy. It's just fill in the blanks. And then you would take it to a staff member, have the staff member sign it. It's a duplicate form, so when the parent comes to pick up that child, you're also going to have the parent sign it. But if it's just a minor emergency, we're not going to call mom and dad out of church to come sign it. So you can ask your check-in person if they would help the parent sign it and then give them one copy and leave a copy on the counter. If there is an emergency and it's 911, we ask that if you're a student leader, go straight to the nearest adult and say we have a 911 emergency. If you're an adult leader, we ask that if it is a 911 emergency, call 911. You can do that on your cell phone, or you can go to a phone in one of our check-in areas and hit 9 for an outside line and then 911. There's a sticker on the phone that has all the information you're going to need. So that's what to do in the case of a medical emergency. But you may also be wondering, what if we had to evacuate? I'm so glad that you asked. If we had to evacuate, the room leader would be the point person in that emergency. The room leader is going to line up all the students and count them all, and then grab the check-in book from the check-in area. All the other leaders will be walking with the class. As the room leader leads the class down their designated pathway, you can see what the pathway is in the little picture frame in your classroom. There's like a little picture of base camp, and it shows what pathway you would take. We all end up at the Mercy House and the Mission House in those yards. If you're not sure where those are, next time you come on campus, look around. They're the two houses that look like they're in the middle of our parking lot. Those belong to the church. We end up there, and then the room leader is going to count all of the students again. And if the number is different from upstairs to downstairs, then the room leader will use the check-in book to call roll and figure out who's missing. Along the way, if a parent finds out that we're evacuating and panics and wants to come get their child out of line, we cannot dismiss children while we are in line in our evacuation. It's just not safe. The parent may walk with us, and they may be frustrated with you about that, but just let them know it's a safety thing. They may walk with us to the Mercy House and the Mission House. Once we know we have everyone, our check-in team will do our official checkout process. Then once we have the all clear for the building, the room leader will count everyone again. We'll go up our designated path back to our room, and the room leader will count one last time.
All right, so you served a couple times up here, but are you really sure where you fit in? That's what we're going to talk about now. Where's my sweet spot? What do I really like? I like the kids, I don't like the kids, I'm not really sure. So this is where you really need to look at yourself, look at our list of things, look inside and pray. This is where we really need to start thinking about what I really like. Do I like working with the kids? Do I like working with the people that I'm in the room with? Would I rather be behind the checkout desk? Would I rather be up on stage leading the kids in worship? Would I rather be flashing those lights and making the music louder because I just don't play it loud enough at the 4 o'clock? Think about those things, look within yourself, and really just start praying, because God is the one who has started you on this journey, and God is the one who is telling you where He wants you. And I bet you that between the two of you, you will figure it out.
We do have some additional reminders, and we came up with a silly acronym to help you remember them. It's called the PATH. So we want to remind you to stay on the path. P-A-T-H. Our P of PATH stands for positive attitude. This is as simple as a smile on your face. We want kids to, from the moment that they arrive, know that you are glad that they are here. And you can do that by just smiling. So P, positive attitude. Our A is for arrive early. We ask that all of our leaders and volunteers come 30 minutes before your serving time begins. So if you serve at the 4 o'clock service, come at 3:30. This allows you to be present for our leader prayer time, and then it also allows you to be ready by the time kids are starting to check in. Our T of PATH is teach by example. Growing up, my dad used to say, more is caught than is taught. That means kids pick up on more than we mean to teach them. They're watching us. They don't know how to do life yet. They don't know what this Christianity thing is all about, and they're looking to us to see what it looks like. On one hand, that is like highly intimidating. I realize that. On the other hand, it's really exciting. We get to help show kids what a vibrant relationship with Christ looks like. So we ask that everyone serving with us is in a growing relationship with Christ. At the basic level, this means like we're trying to live out the 10 Commandments. And on another level, it means that we're striving for our life to match up with what the Bible says. And where our life is different from what the Bible says, we're trying to make our life match up with it. It doesn't mean we never mess up, but it means that when we do mess up, we're asking God for forgiveness and asking Him to help us become more like Him. Along the lines of teach by example, this also means that like while we're in the room, we want to be setting a good example. So when it's time to sit and listen, we want to be sitting in with the kids and listening. When it's time to sing and dance, we want to be singing and dancing. And this also pertains to our dress code. As you know, we ask that you wear your base camp shirt when you come to serve, but we also ask that you would wear shorts that are fingertip length. Again, we always want to be appropriate, and we want to give our kids a great example of what's appropriate, so that in everything in our life, we can say, as Paul said in 1 Corinthians 11:1, follow my example as I follow the example of Christ. Our T of path, teach by example. And then our H of path is help children grow by knowing them. You'll notice in your handbook, there's a really basic developmental chart. I encourage you to take some time looking at that. Think about the age group that you work with, and you'll be able to see how these characteristics and traits play out with those kids. But by knowing it in advance, you'll be able to help your kids better. This doesn't mean that our rules aren't the same for kids at different stages. Yeah, we still have the rules of we keep our hands to ourselves, we're respectful, and all of that. But understanding how kids work and develop makes us able to keep a smile on our face, as we may have to remind them a couple of extra times depending on what age they are or what developmental state they'll be in. So remember, stay on the path, PATH.
Hi, we're going to talk about discipline now. And no, it's not fun, but it's necessary when you're dealing with kids. Sadly, they're not always perfect. However, we have 3 rules up here at base camp. 2 of them are rules. 1 of them, well, you'll see. The first rule is hands to ourselves. The second rule is respect each other at all times. And the third rule is to have fun. The third rule, we don't really have a problem enforcing, but the first 2, those, well, we have kids, so those are the fun rules that we have to enforce all the times. So our discipline policy is a 3 strikes policy. 3 strikes, you're out. And we're talking baseball strikes. We never, ever use physical force with any child. We love our kids, and we don't ever want to hurt them in any way. And so we are talking baseball strikes only. So the first strike, and it is a verbal warning. We always get down on their level, we smile, we use kindness, and we always use a calm disposition. So say, for instance, Johnny has hit a child. Well, they've broken rule number 1 by not keeping their hands to themselves. So we tell Johnny, I'm sorry, we don't hit kids. So you've broken our first rule. Remember, what's our first rule? We keep our hands to ourselves. That's right. So I'm sorry, but that's strike 1, okay? And so strike 2 is, if you do it again, you're going to have to go to timeout. We always enforce what the next strike is, so that way they know. They know what's coming. We want to make sure that they are aware of the consequences of their actions. Again, calmly, smile on your face. We want to make sure that there's always love, even in a mistake. So Johnny decides he's angry, he's going to hit them again. Okay, Johnny, you've broken the rule again, so that's strike 2. So I'm going to ask you to come sit over here with me. So we set Johnny down, and we tell him, that's strike 2. So the next strike, if you do it again, after you've thought about it for a while, we're going to have to call your parents. So Johnny thinks about it for a while. We bring Johnny back. He joins the group. Well, he's still angry, and he hits again. That's strike 3. Now we bring Johnny back out again, and we talk to him and say, now we have to tell your parents, because that's strike 3. So you would then go get a staff person, or send somebody to go get a staff person. We will then contact the parent, have them come up, and we will be the ones that will, with a smile on our face and a calm disposition, inform them of what's going on, our rules, and our 3 strikes policy, and come up with a way to help Johnny better fit in with the group without hitting anybody, with following our rules, and all those things. So that way you can join back in your group and lead your group in a loving and caring manner without any chaos, without any crazy. And that way, you have not only enabled your group to continue without anybody hopefully getting hurt, but you've established what the rules are. You've established that we will follow through with everything that we've said we will, both in love and the good and the bad. So that's our 3 strikes policy.
You'll notice toward the back of your book, you have a page that says contact info. Like we talked about early, we care about you, your room leader, check-in leader, community leader. They all care about you. And because of that, they want you to be able to get in touch with them. So there's a space for you to write in the info of your leader. And then we also listed our staff members' contact information. This is helpful to have just in general, but especially if you get sick or you have an emergency trip out of town. We want you to be able to contact your leader so that we know that you're not going to be there and we don't panic thinking something's horribly wrong. This helps you be able to stay in touch better. My encouragement is always contact your leader first, and then secondarily you can contact a staff member. Because if you contact a staff member, ultimately we're just going to give the message to your leader. So it works out best, because sometimes our memories are bad, it works out best if you contact your leader directly. That's pretty much all that we have for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to go through the handbook and be fully trained as an elementary leader. We're excited to have you on board with us. If you have any questions, just stop your room leader, community leader, check-in leader, or staff member. We'd be happy to talk more with you. We're excited about what God's going to do in your life and the kids' life.